CentricWorship podcast, a podcast dedicated to fueling worshipers around the globe. Songs centered on Him who is the center of it all. This is CentricWorship. What is up, listeners? Thank you for joining us for episode number 5 of the CentricWorship podcast. My name is Ryan Shirley, and Wisdom's letting me do the intro this time. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, you deserve it for all the hard work.
Well, number 5 is like my favorite number, so.
Oh, see, I knew that. That's why I let you do it.
No, you didn't know that. Silly. Well, we are interviewing the one and the only Lauren Daigle today, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I got a chance to interview her over Skype because when I moved to Nashville, she decided to move to Atlanta, so we didn't get to do it in person. That was really fun. So, how was your week been so far, Ryan?
Busy, man. Yeah, I mean, you can tell because I was late for our meeting this morning. I've been really busy. I'm just like absolutely one of those brains that my brain turns on at 7 p.m. and it doesn't turn off about
turns on at 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. My prime time is in the evening. And so mornings, I am literally a zombie.
So we got to record from now on at like 10 p.m.
Yeah. Dude, yes. At 10 p.m., I'm absolutely good to go. But until I have like 5 cups of coffee and a nap, and then some more coffee, then I'm good to go.
And another nap.
And then probably another nap in the afternoon, yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Well, without further ado, we're going to actually start off the interview with a clip from the song Come Alive, Dry Bones that Lauren co-wrote with our good friend Michael Farron. Hey, Lauren. Welcome to the CentricWorship podcast.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So you're a very, very talented artist and songwriter and worship leader. And, I've just had the privilege to get to know you during the past few months. So I would, be curious to find out how you got started leading worship and getting into music and all that.
Well, when I was about 15 years old, I was diagnosed with this illness, and it was called cytomegalovirus, and I was taken out of school for a while. I was placed on homebound. And in that time, that's when the Lord just really started to tell me about how He wanted me to pursue music and just remaining faithful in music. And so I did American Idol for a little while. Well, first I was a worship leader at my church. I joined the church choir and then started leading. And then they said, you should go on American Idol. You should try that out. So I did, and while I was there, the Lord had to show me that it wasn't about, being in front of all of these people and doing that kind of music. If I was laying everything down to Him in worship, that was going to be the most fulfilling place. So when I was finished with American Idol, I was so pumped to go back home and lead worship for my little church of about 1,500 people. I was just on the edge of my seat to get back home because that's where I was truly fulfilled.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you get into the songwriting aspect?
Well, funny enough, so I started going to LSU and I met this band called The Assembly, and they asked me to sing on their EP for like 2 songs. I did like a verse and chorus of one song and some background vocals on another one. And so they went number 1 on iTunes, and Centricity found them and said, okay, let's see what they're about. So they brought them up to this indie artist retreat, and so I went up as well, and just as a solo artist. And they had this thing called Showcase, and when it was the day of the showcase, you're supposed to like show your music and kind of what you do on a regular basis. Well, all I was doing at the time was leading worship, so I didn't have any songs to share or anything like that. And it just so happened that the morning of the showcase, the lead singer of that band had an emergency appendectomy.
Oh.
And so Centricity, or the band, asked me to step in and sing lead. So I did, and then after Centricity asked me to come to Nashville and try writing a bit. And so I went for a week, had a week of writing, and then by the end of that week I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Nashville. So that's kind of how I got started with songwriting.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And you were actually also a part of the 2 CentricWorship retreats that we've done last year and this year. And I'd love to just hear about, what your experience was like, maybe some of the highlights for you.
Yeah, some of the highlights definitely include the songs for sure. Songs that came out of those times were beautiful, and I'm always blown away by Riley Inquist. She just brings something so cool to the table, and this year I'm really excited about what's on the project because she did so many cool songs. She and Corey, they tear it up every time, and I really think that it's one of the highlights is being with all of those people and getting to learn from all of the hearts there. No heart is better than the other, but just getting to learn and see how other people view God and how they translate their relationship with God into songs and into music is just beautiful. So definitely the highlight is getting to learn while being there, and then getting to exchange that and turn it into a song.
Yeah. You've done a share of co-writing with different worship songwriters, and we'll talk about one of your songs in a minute, but what does that process look like for you? What's kind of your favorite way to approach co-writing?
Well, for a lot of people, they go online and they look up who they're writing with and try to figure it out. And I did that maybe the first 2 or 3 times I ever wrote, but after that, it wasn't my thing. So because I'd never wanted to be intimidated when I was getting an appointment. So I stopped that, and I always approach it like, Lord, just let your Spirit breathe through this whole process. If we get a hit song, great. If we don't, great. If we don't even write a song, great. It's not about the song always. It's about the process. And sometimes you find that you're going to reach people through conversation. Sometimes the people you go in to write with are people who you're supposed to be reaching, or they're supposed to be reaching you. And then other times it's like, wow, we're just exploding off of each other, and a song erupts, and it's such a privilege and a gift to be able to have a song, but sometimes it's not really all about the song. It's just about what the Lord is trying to do in the process. So that's what that's my main focus.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's a great thing to kind of keep in mind for people who are, just entering into the co-writing world. I mean, there's like a whole world out there of co-writing,
Yeah.
so, which is awesome. And I think just being in a part of like a good community, of songwriters that are open and humble like yourself, and that care more about the person than like the end goal, so
Yeah.
that's great.
It's very important. That's, I was reading this morning in John, I think it was chapter 8 or chapter 9, and Jesus was about to be stoned in the synagogue because he was telling them that he was the Son of God, and they were, up in arms, and the Pharisees were freaking out. So they were about to stone him, and as he's running from the synagogue, it rolls into the next chapter, and the next chapter is the one where he heals the blind man. And in the very beginning of that passage, it says that as he was leaving, he stopped and saw the blind man. And he went over there and put the mud on his eyes. Now, Jesus, he was about to be stoned, and he stopped for that one. And that just really, changed a whole perspective to me, because if you start at the beginning of that chapter, it just says, as he was leaving, he stopped. But when you look in the whole context, it wasn't just, oh yeah, he just stopped to see this man. And I think that if we keep that perspective, it's not about all the busy hustle and bustle that we're trying to do and create and all these things. When we stop for the one, and when we stop in ourselves and say, no, I'm going to push aside my agendas and just, reach people, that's where true creativity is birthed in the first place. You'll write 20 more songs that way than just trying to strive for a song.
That's really good. Yeah, definitely. And I want to, also mention, in case our listeners don't know, you have a brand new EP that came out.
Yeah.
How Can It Be? So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I've been listening to it over and over. My wife listens to it nonstop. So
thanks, Wisdom. That's awesome.
So I really feel like it's full of really powerful songs. It's not a EP that starts really watered down. Like the first line of the first song actually says, "I am guilty, ashamed of what I've done, what I've become." I'm like, whoa, that's a powerful way to start an album, I'm really, excited for people to hear it, and I know it's doing really well on iTunes. People are just really responding well to it, and one of the songs is actually called "Come Alive, Dry Bones" that you co-wrote with Michael Farron. And just seeing the response from people on the YouTube page for the video, and just the comments that people are, leaving on social media, about that song. I actually wanted to read you this one. You probably haven't seen it because it was posted late last night, on the YouTube page. And this lady wrote, I'm that mom who is praying and weeping for her son. Thank you for writing this song. We stand on God's word and his promises.
Wow.
So I would love to just,
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I would love for you to just share, the story behind the song, what you guys, wrote for, and just what was the heart behind that.
So I had never met Michael before, and I was really new with songwriting, and I sat down with him, and he starts telling me a little bit about himself, and starts talking about his daughter dating a guy, and how he hopes for certain things with their relationship. And I said, well, coming from someone who, has dated certain people and blah, 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 I can tell you about, I guess this guy that I had been a part of, and I had watched all the ups and downs in his relationship with the Lord. Like, I just saw times of struggle and then times of strength. And it was a lot like the prodigal son. It was a lot of that story. And I watched these parents just, cry over the sad times of watching their son make terrible decisions, and but they never grew weary in trusting that the Lord would bring about, his full plan. And it's God's plan for all of us to be saved.
Yeah.
So in that, Michael, he says, "Hey, can I run to the bathroom really quick and come right back?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So he ran to the bathroom, he came right back. He says, "Can we pray?" And I said, "Absolutely." And with tears just streaming down his face, he prays this beautiful prayer, and he's like, I can't imagine the pain that those parents must be experiencing, but I know that God has the power, and I just think we should, have this chorus like so triumphant and so strong. Like, we call out to dry bones, come alive, come alive. And the thing that's crazy is, like, months before that, I was like reading this passage in Ezekiel 37 that talked about the dry bones coming to life and the spiritually dry places coming to life, and that God raised an army from those places. So we were able to, write this song with the Lord's direction, and his heartbeat was Ezekiel 37, and my heartbeat was Ezekiel 37, and we both looked at each other and were like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened? That is crazy." So I just think it's really cool how God brings things full circle, and if we just stand in the gap and intercede for those, He has the power to breathe into those dry places.
That's very awesome. I never heard the story about the bathroom and all that before, so
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it's great. He's awesome. I love Michael. He's so real.
So we actually have the live version of the song on the new EP releasing, on November 11th.
Love the live one.
So November 11th is called "Come Alive" live from the CentricWorship retreat. So it actually contains songs from this year's retreat as well as last year's retreat. So
Oh wow, cool.
yeah, there's some great songs on there, some really powerful songs. And I don't know if you've listened to this podcast yet. I know we're really brand new with this podcast, but we do a section called Rapid Fire. So
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
so basically, I'm gonna just rapid fire questions at you, and then you have
Yes.
to just answer them, as
This will be
fast as you can. So, all right, here we go. There's 7 questions.
All right.
If you could spend a day with anyone dead or alive outside of people in the Bible, who would it be? Who would it be?
My grandfather.
Awesome. Where would you visit or revisit if you had the chance?
Oh my gosh. Rapid fire. I would go to anywhere, India, Thailand, Fiji, any place that's foreign, I would go. I love Brazil. I've been to Brazil. I love China. I've been to China.
Great.
There's a couple right there.
All right, what app on your phone do you use the most?
Oh, an app? Instagram?
Instagram. Is that the first
Yeah.
app you check in the morning when you wake up?
Probably.
Cool.
Yes.
And what's the last thing you took a picture of and posted on Instagram?
The last thing I posted was a picture of my friend Adri and I at a birthday party. But it wasn't the last picture I took. The last picture I took, I don't even know. I don't remember.
And who was your favorite artist or band growing up?
I loved Adele. I love Celine Dion. I love Whitney Houston. I loved Need to Breathe. Yeah, and Amy Winehouse and Billy Joel. Okay.
If you couldn't do music for a living, what would you be doing? If you couldn't sing or write songs or lead worship?
2 things. I would be either a food critic or, those people that travel and eat food and judge it for the channel or Discovery. That would be me. Or I'd have a restaurant, something with food. and definitely some sort of humanitarian justice agency, whether it's human trafficking or, social justices for abused kids, or any sort of thing that has to do with people and setting them free.
Awesome. All right, last question of the rapid fire. If you could write a song about your life, what would you title it?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's the hardest one. You saved that fast.
Oh yeah.
Dadgummit, I'm stumped. Wait. Hi, my name is Quirky. That's me.
Love it. That's great. All right, so you're a young songwriter and worship leader and artist, and so I want to ask you the last question. If you could sit down with like an up and coming worship leader or songwriter, who's young and maybe who looks up to you, what word of encouragement would you share with that person?
Stay in your word, because that's the one place that will never fail you. And from that place, you'll be able to breathe out the promises of God onto all the people that you lead. If you want to be a true leader, you have to study leaders, and you have to study His word and know His word, so that you can not only guide His people, but that you can be full and refreshed and stay rejuvenated. Because the word says that that He is the living water, and that He is the bread of life. And when we taste and eat of that water and that bread, it never runs out. It never runs dry. So we're able to pour out constantly, because we're always nourished and we're always full. So if your place in life is to lead, then make His presence the most important place. And when you stay in His presence, that's when you're going to do your job the best.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Lauren, thanks for actually taking the time to be on the podcast. Yay! I know you haven't been feeling well.
Oh, no. Thank you.
You still have a cough.
Sorry it took so long to
no
get
problem.
Skype up and running.
So listeners, you can actually check out her music and find her social media links on her website, laurendaigle.com. That's DAIGLE.com. You can actually get a physical copy of the EP, which is different from the digital copy, which I have the physical copy, which I love, because there's 4 additional songs. So if you can't get enough of Lauren's vocals and her songs, get the physical copy, because there's tons to listen to on that, and some really great songs that you won't hear on the digital version of it. So thanks so much, and hope you get fully well soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on episode number 5 of the Centric Worship podcast. Listener, we would love to connect with you, so you can find us on your favorite social network by searching Centric Worship. But until next time, stay centered on Him who's the center of it all. Thanks for listening to the Centric Worship podcast. For more worship resources, visit us online at CentricWorship.com.